Hey guys, this is Fernando doing another video for More Survivalists. In this case, I wanted to talk a little bit about the ammo scare, the ammunition shortage that you're seeing in USA right now. First of all, we have to understand the reason why this is happening, especially since all this talk about gun bans and such. People started buying lots and lots of guns, which it's great, but at the same time, it sends the prices up. Something similar happened with ammunition. Because of the gun ban scare, people started buying tons and tons of ammunition themselves, and when that happens, prices go up. As we're seeing now, some of the prices in gun broker are just ridiculous. At the same time, the government made some large purchases of ammunition, which I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist. I think that it just makes sense. It has happened before. The government buys like batches of huge amounts of ammunition. Yes, even jacket hollow point. I mean, if that's what your officers use, and that's what actually most police officers use, actually all police departments issue their officers jacket hollow point. So there's nothing out of the ordinary there. So the reason why you're seeing ammunition become so scarce is that people are just going nuts about it, buying it as much as possible, and willing, and especially willing to pay quite a bit for it. That's a bad combination. Makes it difficult to find. You know, these days 9mm, 40, even 22 long rifle is hard to come by and expensive when you do so. I have one of my friends is making a killing selling some of his supply. He had lots and lots of ammunition. I mean, guys, this has happened before. It is not the first time that you can actually make quite a bit of money selling during the scare like this time. Right now would be an awful moment to start buying ammunition and stocking up on it. It would have been smarter to do maybe last year or something like that. Now it doesn't make sense. The good news is that prices are going to be going down eventually, as it always happens. It's as soon as people get over this fear, the scare goes by in terms of the gun bans and such, you're going to be seeing supply. I think that already, I was watching some of the videos, already there's a resupply. It's easier to find Glocks in some places, and some of the more common calibers are being restocked. But the second thing I wanted to talk about in this video was one of the common debates in the survival community, which is which caliber should you stock up on? Should you buy commonly available calibers, or should you stock up on oddball calibers, which are sometimes found in the surplus market? For example, 7.62 Tokarev, the Tokarev shoots, or 9mm short, or some of those calibers that are a little bit less ordinary, but still very plentiful and usually very, very cheap as well. And the logic here is that if you have a gun that fires commonly available caliber like 9mm, basically anywhere you go, you will find, chances are you will find a 9mm, because it is you know, commonly available, and that's what most people shoot, right? Now, at the same time, what you're seeing right now is that those same calibers, the commonly available ones, are the ones that are harder to come by. People are talking about, yes, I can find 357 SIG, which, by the way, is one of my favorite handgun calibers. I'm finding 357 SIG, but I'm not finding any 9mm, 40 or 45 ACP. That's not. Well, it makes sense that during an ammo scare like you're seeing now, people buy what they have for what they need for their guns, the most commonly available ones. So they empty those supplies. At the same time, the less common calibers stay in the shelves a little bit longer. So that's why you're seeing this. So does it make sense then to just shoot oddball calibers and just stick with that? Well, no, because it basically depends on what's causing the shortage of ammunition. And here I can relate to something that I saw in Argentina in terms of ammunition becoming more scarce. What happened after a crisis was that many companies, including the manufacturers of ammunition in Argentina, those would be, in Argentina, the big company that makes ammunition is Fabricaciones Militares, which is a military factory, which is just what the name says. The military factory would produce 9mm, 45 ACP, 380, and it was starting to make more oddball calibers and such. What happened because of the crisis was that, like everything else, they were forced to downscale and reduce their production a little bit. People got fired, machinery got sold, and what happens when ammunition becomes scarce because there's less production of it, what is interesting is that the company, in this case Fabricaciones Militares, stuck by the more commonly available calibers. If they had to cut down on production, they cut it down on producing 380 rather than reducing the production of 9mm. So Fabricaciones Militares would end up making 9mm, especially 9mm, focusing a lot on that, and 45 ACP, and maybe reducing 40 Smith & Wesson because it was more of an oddball compared to some of the rest. So it makes sense, and this would be the answer to that famous survivalist question: should you have commonly available or oddballs? Have both, man, have both. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Have commonly available guns, and especially given that surplus ammunition and surplus guns are pretty cheap. If you want to stock up on that as well, then do it. There's nothing wrong with it. Have both. Especially with 357 SIG, the Glock 31, which is in 357 SIG, you can easily buy a 40 Smith & Wesson barrel. It's just dropping the 40 barrel in the Glock 31, and you can fire both 357 SIG and 40 Smith & Wesson. Someone that has a barrel and has one gun but has those two barrels will find out that today, if they find 357 SIG, which seems to be a little bit more common than 40 Smith & Wesson, that solves the problem for you. So that's it. Have both, because there's really no final answer in terms of which is the one that you're going to be finding. If it's what's causing the ammunition shortage is something like what you're seeing right now, people buying tons and tons of it, then those are the ones that become more scarce. If it's something like what we saw in Argentina with production being forced to being downscaled, the calibers that the companies will be dropping will be the ones that are sold less often, the more oddball calibers. And if something happens in terms of importations, a lot of that cheap surplus ammunition may go down as well. Guys, that's basically it. That's my little piece of advice and wisdom regarding this issue. Have a great day. See you in our next video.